Most people go through life believing that they are victims of circumstance, that they must accept whatever life hands them, that they are powerless to change their conditions. They pray to a God outside of themselves. They hope for luck. They wait for opportunities. And they wonder why their lives remain the same year after year. But I tell you tonight, you are not a victim. You are not powerless. You are not at the mercy of external forces. You are the operant power of your world, and the universe must respond to you when you learn to speak its language. The secret I am about to reveal to you is this: your imagination is God. Not a God among many gods, but the only God there is. Your wonderful human imagination is the creative power of the universe itself, individualized as you. When you imagine, you are not engaging in idle fantasy. You are literally creating your future. You are commanding the universe to rearrange itself according to your imaginal act. This is not metaphor. This is not poetry. This is the absolute truth of existence. But you must understand what imagination truly is. It is not mere visualization or daydreaming. True imagination is the ability to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. It is the capacity to enter into a state of consciousness where you experience your desire as already accomplished. When you can do this completely, when you can live in that assumption with such conviction that it feels more real than your present circumstances, then you have spoken the creative word, and the universe must respond. Now let me explain to you how this works. Everything that exists in your world, everything you can see and touch and experience, first existed as an imaginal act in consciousness. Your present circumstances, your relationships, your health, your wealth or lack thereof, your lack thereof, your home, everything in your experience was first imagined before it became fact. But here is what most people do not understand. You are constantly imagining. Every moment of every day, you are creating through your imagination. The question is not whether you are using your imagination, but whether you are using it consciously and deliberately to create what you want, or unconsciously to perpetuate what you do not want. Most people use their imagination against themselves. They imagine the worst possible outcomes. They replay past hurts and disappointments. They project their current limitations into the future. They imagine conversations where they are rejected, situations where they fail, circumstances where they are powerless. And because imagination is the creative power, these negative imaginings become their reality. They create through their imagination exactly what they do not want. And then they wonder why their lives are filled with struggle and disappointment. But you can reverse this process. You can begin to use your imagination deliberately and consciously to create the life you truly desire. You do this by learning to control your inner conversations, by disciplining your mind to dwell only on what you want to experience, by assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, until that assumption becomes natural to you. Let me give you a practical example. Suppose you desire greater financial abundance. Most people, when they think about money, immediately feel the lack of it. They imagine all the bills they cannot pay, all the things they cannot afford, all the reasons why they will never have enough. This feeling of lack, this assumption of poverty, becomes their creative state. And the universe responds by giving them more experiences of lack and limitation. But if you understand the secret I am sharing with you tonight, you will do something entirely different. You will dare to assume that you already have the financial abundance you desire. You will imagine how it would feel to have more than enough money for all your needs and desires. You will live in that assumption. You will think from that state rather than about that state. You will imagine conversations where people congratulate you on your success. You will feel the satisfaction of being able to give generously to others. You will assume the mental attitude of someone who has abundant resources. At first, your rational mind will rebel against this assumption. It will tell you that you are being foolish, that you are denying reality, that you are engaging in wishful thinking. But you must persist. You must continue to live in your assumption, despite the evidence of your senses, despite the protests of reason that appear at the opinions of others. For imagination is more real than fact, and your assumption, persisted in, will become your reality. This is the great secret that has been hidden in plain sight throughout the ages. It has been taught in the mystical traditions of every culture, encoded in the sacred texts of every religion. Yet it has been misunderstood and misinterpreted by those who could not accept its radical implications. For if you truly understood that your imagination is God, that you are the curator of your own experience, that you have the power to change your life simply by changing your assumptions, then you would no longer be dependent on external authorities. You would no longer need priests or teachers or gurus to intercede for you. You would know yourself as the operant power of your world. But understanding this intellectually is not enough. You must prove it to yourself through experience. You must test this principle in the laboratory of your own life. Choose something you desire, something specific and definite. Not something vague like happiness or success, but something concrete that you can clearly imagine having or being or experiencing. Then assume that you already have it. Live in that assumption. Think from it rather than about it. Persist in this assumption regardless of what your senses tell you, regardless of what others say, regardless of how impossible it may seem. And here is what will happen. The universe will begin to rearrange itself to match your assumption. Opportunities will appear that were not there before. People will come into your life who can help you. Circumstances will align in ways that seem miraculous but are actually the natural result of your imaginal act. What you have assumed in imagination will gradually externalize itself in your world of experience. But you must be willing to live in the end. This is perhaps the most difficult part for most people to understand and accept. They want to imagine the process, the how, the steps between their current state and their desired state. But the creative power works from the end backwards. You must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You must live in the satisfaction of already having what you desire. And then the universe work out the details of how it will come to pass. This requires a complete reversal of the way most people think. They believe that first they must work hard, struggle, overcome obstacles, and then maybe, if they are lucky, they will achieve their goals. But I tell you that this is backwards. First, you must assume the feeling of already having achieved your goal. And then the work, the opportunities, the circumstances will appear to make it so. You do not create through effort and struggle. You create through assumption and feeling. Now let me address a concern that may be arising in your mind. You may be thinking, but surely I cannot simply imagine whatever I want and expect it to happen. There must be limits. There must be laws that govern what is possible and what is not. And you are right that there are laws, but they are not the laws you think they are. The only law that governs manifestation is the law of assumption. Whatever you assume to be true, if you persist in that assumption, will become your reality. There are no other limits except those you accept in your own mind. You see, what you call the physical world is not as solid and fixed as it appears. It is actually a world of symbols, a reflection of consciousness, a mirror of your inner states. When you change your inner state, when you change your assumptions, the outer world must change to conform to your new inner reality. This is not magic. This is not supernatural. This is the natural operation of consciousness itself. But you must be careful what you assume. For assumption is creative, whether it is positive or negative, whether it serves you or limits you. If you assume that you are unlucky, that you are always struggling, that good things happen to other people but not to you, then these assumptions will create experiences that confirm them. If you assume that you are blessed, that opportunities come easily to you, that you live a charmed life, then these assumptions will create experiences that confirm them instead. Most people are unconscious of their assumptions. They have inherited them from their family, their culture, their past experiences, and they accept them as truth without question. They assume that they are limited by their education, their background, their age, their circumstances, and these assumptions become the invisible walls of their prison. But when you become conscious of your assumptions, when you realize that you can choose what to assume, then you become free. You become the architect of your own experience. This is why I say that you must be born again, not in some religious sense, but in the sense of assuming a new identity, a new set of beliefs about yourself and your capabilities. You must die to your old self-concept and be resurrected as the person you truly want to be. This death and resurrection happens in imagination. You imagine yourself as already being the person you want to become, And you persist in this assumption until it becomes natural to you. Let me give you another example. Suppose you see yourself as shy and socially awkward. This self-concept creates experiences that confirm it. You avoid social situations. You feel nervous when meeting new people. You assume that others will not like you, and your behavior reflects these assumptions. But if you understand the secret I am sharing with you, you will begin to assume a new identity. You will imagine yourself as confident and charismatic. You will feel how it would feel to be at ease in social situations. You will assume that people are drawn to you, that you have interesting things to say, that you are welcomed wherever you go. At first, this new assumption will feel unnatural, even false. Your old self-concept will resist it. But if you persist, if you continue to live in this new assumption, something wonderful will happen. Your behavior will gradually change to match your assumption. You will find yourself speaking up more, taking social risks, engaging with others in ways you never did before. And because you are acting from a different assumption, people will respond to you differently. Your new self-concept will create new experiences that confirm it. This is the great secret of transformation. You do not become confident by acting confident. You act confident by assuming that you are already confident. You do not become successful by working hard to achieve success. You work from the assumption that you are already successful. And the work becomes the natural expression of that success rather than the struggle to attain it. But remember, assumption is not a mental exercise, it is a feeling. You must feel yourself to be what you want to be. You must assume the emotional state of having your desire fulfilled. This is why I say you must live in the end. You must capture the feeling you would have if your desire were already a reality. And you must live in that feeling until it becomes your natural state. And here is something else you must understand. There is no one to change but self. The whole vast world is yourself pushed out. Every person in your life, every situation you encounter, every condition you experience is a reflection of your own consciousness. When you change yourself, when you change your assumptions, the world around you must change to reflect your new inner state. This means that you are not trying to change other people or external circumstances. You are not trying to manipulate or control anything outside of yourself. You are simply changing your own consciousness, your own assumptions, your own inner state. And the external world changes automatically to match it. This is the most liberating truth you can ever learn. Or it means that you are never at the mercy of external conditions. You are always the operant power, always the one in control. But with this power comes responsibility. If you are the creator of your experience, then you must take full responsibility for everything that happens in your life. You cannot blame others. You cannot blame circumstances. You cannot blame luck or fate or God. Whatever you are experiencing is the result of your own consciousness, your own assumptions, your own imaginings. This may be difficult to accept at first, especially if you are experiencing difficult or unpleasant conditions. But accepting this responsibility is also the key to your freedom. For if you created your current experience, then you have the power to create a different experience. Now, you may be wondering how to apply this knowledge practically. How do you actually change your assumptions? How do you live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled? How do you make this abstract principle work in your concrete daily life? The answer is through the practice of controlled imagination. Every night before you fall asleep, when your mind is naturally relaxed and receptive, you imagine a scene that would naturally follow from the fulfillment of your desire. You do not imagine yourself getting what you want. You imagine yourself already having it. You construct a short scene, a brief dramatic moment that implies the fulfillment of wish. And you replay this scene over and over in your imagination until it feels real to you. For example, if you desire a promotion at work, you do not imagine yourself asking for the promotion or working hard to earn it. Instead, you imagine a scene where you are already in your new position. Perhaps you imagine a colleague congratulating you on your promotion, or you imagine yourself sitting in your new office, or you imagine your family celebrating your success. You choose one simple scene, and you make it vivid and real in your imagination. The key is to feel the reality of the scene. You must experience it as if it were actually happening. You must hear the congratulations, feel the handshake, see the expressions on people's faces, smell the flowers on your new desk. You must involve all your senses and emotions in making the scene as real as possible. And most importantly, you must feel the satisfaction, the joy, the sense of fulfillment that would naturally accompany the realization of your desire. You repeat this imaginal act night after night until it becomes natural to you, until you no longer have to force yourself to believe it, until it feels as real as any memory of something that has already happened. When you reach this point, when your assumption becomes natural and automatic, then you have impressed your subconscious mind with your desire, and it will work to bring it to pass in your external world. But during the day, you must also be vigilant about your thoughts and feelings. You must catch yourself when you slip back into your old assumptions. When you find yourself thinking thoughts that contradict your desire, when you feel emotions that deny your wish fulfilled, you must gently but firmly redirect your attention to your new assumption. You must think from your desired state rather than about it. This is not always easy. Your rational mind will present you with evidence that contradicts your assumption. Your senses will show you circumstances that seem to prove that your desire is not fulfilled. Other people may tell you that you are being unrealistic or delusional, but you must remain faithful to your assumption. You must persist in your imaginal act regardless of what appears to be true in the outer world. Remember, imagination creates reality, not the other way around. What you see in the external world is the result of past imagining. What you imagine now is creating your future reality. So do not let present circumstances discourage you or make you doubt your assumption. Know that as you persist in your new assumption, the external world must gradually conform to it. And here is something wonderful. As you continue to live in your assumption, you will find that it becomes easier and more natural. What once required effort and concentration will become automatic. You will find yourself naturally thinking and feeling from your desired state. You will discover that you have truly become the person you imagined yourself to be. This transformation is not just mental or emotional. It is a complete reorganization of your entire being. Your body language will change. Your speech patterns will change. Your habits and preferences will change. You will literally become a different person. One who naturally attracts and experiences the conditions you have assumed to be true. But remember, this is a process, not an event. Do not expect overnight transformation. Be patient with yourself as you learn to master this new way of being. Some assumptions will manifest quickly. Others may take more time. The key is persistence. Never give up on your assumption. Never accept defeat. Continue to live in the end regardless of how long it takes for the external world to catch up with your inner reality. And do not make the mistake of constantly checking for results. When you plant a seed in the ground, you do not dig it up every day to see if it is growing. You plant it, and then you let it grow naturally. In the same way, once you have planted your desire in consciousness through repeated imaginal acts, you must let it grow. Trust the process. Know that your assumption is working even when you cannot see evidence of it in the outer world. There will be times when you doubt, times when you wonder if this is all just wishful thinking, times when the evidence of your senses seems to contradict your assumption. This is natural and to be expected. But these moments of doubt are tests of your faith. They are opportunities to strengthen your conviction. When doubt arises, do not fight it. Simply return to your imaginal act. Feel once again the reality of your wish fulfilled. Remind yourself that imagination is the only reality and that your assumption persisted in must manifest in your world. You see, what I am teaching you is not positive thinking or the power of belief. Those are weak substitutes for the real thing. What I am teaching you is the creative power of assumption. When you truly assume something to be true, you do not need to believe it because you know it. You do not need to be positive about it because you are certain of it. You do not need to affirm it because you live it. This certainty, this knowing, this living from your assumption is what makes the universe respond. It is not your hoping or wishing or wanting that creates. It is your assuming, your accepting, your taking for granted that creates. When you can assume your desire to be already fulfilled with the same naturalness that you assume your name to be what it is, then you have mastered the secret of creation. And once you master this secret with one desire, you can apply it to any area of your life. You can assume perfect health and experience healing. You can assume loving relationships and attract wonderful people into your life. You can assume professional success and find opportunities opening up before you. You can assume financial abundance and discover sources of income you never imagined. There are no limits to what you can create through the power of assumption, except the limits you accept in your own mind. But with this great power comes great responsibility. Use it wisely. Use it for good. Remember that as you create your own reality, you are also contributing to the collective reality of humanity. What you assume for yourself affects not only your own life, but the lives of everyone around you. So assume the best not only for yourself, but for others as well. Live in the assumption that the world is becoming a better place, that humanity is evolving toward greater love and understanding, that peace and prosperity are possible for all. You are not separate from the universe. You are the universe individualized. When you learn to make the universe respond to you, you are not manipulating some external force. You are simply learning to consciously direct the creative power that you have always been. You are learning to take your rightful place as the operant power of your world. So I leave you tonight with this challenge. Choose one thing that you truly desire. Make it specific and definite. Then assume that you already have it. Live in that assumption. Think from it. Feel from it. Act from it. Persist in it regardless of appearances. And prove to yourself the truth of what I have told you tonight. The secret to changing your life is to make the universe respond. And the universe responds to assumption. Your wonderful human imagination, when disciplined and directed, is the most powerful force in creation. Use it consciously, use it deliberately, use it persistently. And you will discover that you are indeed the master of your fate, the captain of your soul, the creator of your destiny. This is not theory. This is not philosophy. This is practical mysticism. This is the way creation works. This is the secret that has been hidden from the masses, but revealed to those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. Tonight you have heard it. Now go and prove it in your own experience. Make the universe respond to you by assuming that it already has. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. These words from Scripture reveal the greatest secret ever told. For your consciousness, your awareness, your assumption is the only reality. The world that appears outside of you is nothing more than the outpicturing of your essence made visible. What you are experiencing now, at this very moment, is simply the harvest of seeds previously planted in the fertile soil of your imagination. Tonight, I shall reveal to you the divine art of assumption, the method by which you may act as if you already possess that which you desire, and through this assumption, command the invisible forces of creation to reshape your world according to your will. The law of assumption. The first and most fundamental truth I wish to impress upon you is this. Assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. Let me repeat that eternal principle. Assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. What does this mean? It means that when you assume you are what you want to be, and continue in that assumption, you will become it in this physical world. When you assume you have what you desire, and persist in that feeling, it must externalize itself in your experience. This is not magic, not some mystical phenomenon separate from the natural laws of the universe. This is the very process of creation itself, the same process by which all that exists came into being. In the beginning was the Word. The word consciousness, imagination, assumption precedes all manifestation. Your physical senses tell you what is, but your imagination tells you what can be. And in the realm of creation, what can be imagined as real becomes real in your world. The secret of imagining, I tell you, is the greatest of all problems, to the solution of which the mystic aspires. When you grasp that your consciousness is the one and only reality, you will know that the world you experience is determined by the concept you hold of yourself. Change your concept of self, and you change your world, the creative power of your assumption. Let me illustrate this principle with a simple truth. There is no difference between imagining and what you call reality except in degree of vividness. The world you perceive is not caused by what exists external to you. Rather, what appears external to you is caused by your state of consciousness. The world, as Neville has often told you, is a mirror wherein everyone sees himself reflected. The conditions and activities of your life are the direct reproduction of your inner states. Nothing appears by chance. Your assumption, your feeling, your dominant state externalizes itself. As within, so without. Consider the words found in Scripture. What things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye have received them, and ye shall have them. This is not a promise of some future attainment. It is the revelation of an immediate possession. Believe that you receive them now in the present moment. This is the secret of acting as if. You must assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, not tomorrow, not next week, not when circumstances appear favorable, but now. In the absence of physical evidence, in the face of contradictory appearances, you must dare to assume the feeling of already being, already having that which you seek to manifest. For the feeling is the secret, the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Your feeling is your faith, and according to your faith is it done unto you. The assumption of the wish fulfilled. The technique is simple, though its implications are profound. You must first clarify in your mind exactly what you would feel if you were already the person you wish to be, if you already possess that which you desire to possess. Then, having identified this feeling, you must enter into it completely. You must saturate your consciousness with it. You must think from the end, not of the end. This distinction is crucial. To think from the end is to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is to experience now what you would experience then. Let me share with you a technique that has proven most effective. Each night as you lie in your bed, just before sleep claims you, assume that you are already that which you wish to be. Feel the naturalness of it. Feel the reality of it. Feel the solidity of it. Then fall asleep in this state. In sleep, man is shut out from the world of the senses. In sleep, his conscious, reasoning mind is no longer active. In this state, your assumption will sink deep into the subconscious, where all changes must first occur before they can manifest in your outer world. What thou seest that thou be, as you fall asleep feeling yourself to be a particular person, you will awaken being that person. While men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat. Sleep in the assumption of your wish fulfilled and allow no negative thoughts, no tares to be sown in the fertile field of your subconscious mind. The law of reversibility. There exists in nature what I call the law of reversibility. This law states that by consciously assuming the feeling of that which you wish to be or to have, and persisting in that assumption, you will experience in the outer world the conditions implied in that assumption. If I desire wealth, I must assume the feeling of wealth. If I desire health, I must assume the feeling of health. If I desire love, I must assume the feeling of being loved. Whatever state I assume and continue to occupy, that state I will objectify in my world. This law of reversibility is demonstrated throughout Scripture, though few have eyes to see it. Go thy way, thy son liveth. The father believed the words that Jesus spoke to him. He assumed health for his son, though his son was miles away and critically ill. And when he returned home, he found his son had been healed at the exact hour that Jesus had spoken to him. This is the law of reversibility in action. The feeling with faith objectifies itself. That is the law. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine with faith becomes your reality. The distinction between wishing and assuming. Mark well the distinction between wishing and assuming. To wish for something is to acknowledge that you do not possess it. It affirms lack, separation, and absence. To assume, however, is to appropriate the consciousness of already having that which you desire. It affirms possession, unity, and presence. Many pray to an external deity, begging for intervention, imploring for mercy or favor. But I tell you, the kingdom of God is within you. The creative power, The only God there is exists within your own consciousness. Prayer is not begging. Prayer is not supplication. True prayer is assumption, the feeling of already being or having that which you desire. It is thanksgiving before the evidence of physical senses. It is faith, the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. When you pray, do not say, God, please give me this or that. Rather, feel, thank you, other, that I now have this or that. Feel the gratitude that would be yours if your desire were already fulfilled. This is the true meaning of, before they call, I will answer. The redemptive function of imagination. Imagination is not a state, it is the very existence of man. The eternal body of man is the imagination that is God himself. Your imagination is the very gateway to infinity, the portal through which the unmanifest becomes manifest. When you consciously direct your imagination, you are exercising the divine prerogative of creation. The world and all within it are phenomena of the imagination. Nothing exists outside of awareness. All that appears to you as reality first had to be conceived in someone's imagination. Your imagination is redemptive. Through it, you can be born anew, not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the wish, but of God, of the creative consciousness that is your true identity. When you imagine yourself as the person you wish to be, and persist in that imagination until it feels natural to you, you are literally bringing about a rebirth of yourself. You are putting off the old man and putting on the new. This is not metaphor. This is the actual process of transformation, the natural use of the law. Now, let me address a concern that often arises when this law is first understood. Some fear that if imagination creates reality, then mankind might use this power for destructive purposes. But let me assure you, the law itself neutralizes all negative uses of the creative power. For to sustain an assumption, you must feel it to be natural. And no man can feel natural in a state that violates his innate sense of justice. You may temporarily enter into an unlovely assumption, but you cannot abide there. The tension between such an assumption and your divine nature will eventually force you to abandon it. The law itself ensures that in the end, only the good, the beautiful, and the true can endure. For only these states can be felt as natural to man, who in his essence is the image and likeness of God. When you use the law naturally, you use it lovingly. You do not seek to take from another or to harm another. You simply assume the consciousness of already being what you want to be, of already having what you want to have. And in that assumption, you discover that there is enough for all, that creation is infinite, that limitation exists only in the minds of those who believe in limitation. The sevenfold nature of man. Man is a sevenfold being. He has within him 7 states of consciousness, 7 levels of awareness. Most live their entire lives utilizing only the lowest 3, corresponding to the physical body, the vital energies, and the lower emotions. But the law of assumption calls upon you to activate the higher states, the heart center of divine love, the throat center of divine expression, the brow center of divine vision, and the crown center of a divine unity. As you ascend in consciousness through the power of assumption, these dormant centers awaken, bringing with them new faculties, new perceptions, and new powers. Be ye perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect. This command is not impossible of fulfillment. It is simply calling you to awaken to your true nature, to assume the feeling of being perfect, whole, complete, as God is. And as you persist in this assumption, the evidence of your transformation will appear in your world. The pruning shears of revision. If you have made mistakes in the past, if your life up to this point has not reflected the glory that you are capable of manifesting, do not despair, for you have at your disposal what I call the pruning shears of revision. Each night, before you sleep, review the events of your day, where you have fallen short. Revise the scene in your imagination. See it not as it occurred, but as you would have liked it to occur. Feel the naturalness of this revised version. Then, fall asleep in this revised state. The vision of Christ that thou dost see is my vision's greatest enemy. Do not accept the evidence of your senses as final. Do not bow before the dictates of memory. You have the power to revise the past in your imagination. And as you do, you rewrite the script of your life. What you revise in imagination with feeling, you experience in reality. This is not fantasy or escapism. This is the creative use of the one power that shapes all manifestation, your consciousness. The pearl of great price. The knowledge I share with you tonight is the pearl of great price, the treasure hidden in a field. It is worth selling all that you have, all your limiting beliefs, all your negative assumptions, all your fears and doubts to possess it. For when you truly grasp the power of assumption, when you begin to consciously apply it in your life, you will discover that you are the author of your destiny, the creator of your universe. You will know with absolute certainty that the world you experience is simply your consciousness pushed out. I am the resurrection and the life. These words, attributed to Jesus, reveal the true identity of every man and woman. For the I am in you, your own wonderful human imagination, is the resurrection and the life. It can resurrect you from the grave of limitation and breathe new life into your circumstances. When you say, I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am loved, you are literally reshaping your reality according to these assumptions. For I am is God's name, the creative power of the universe. And whatever you attach to I am, you bind to your experience. The Sabbath of life. There comes a point in the application of the law where effort ceases. This is the Sabbath, the day of rest. When your assumption feels completely natural to you, when you no longer have to remind yourself to think from the end, when your new state has been fully accepted by your subconscious mind, then you have entered the Sabbath. In this state, manifestation occurs effortlessly. You do not make it happen. You allow it to happen. Having planted the seed of assumption in the fertile soil of your subconscious, you now watch it grow of its own accord. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who casts seed upon the ground and would sleep and rise night and day, and the seed would sprout and grow. He knows not how. This is the perfect description of the process. You cast the seed, your assumption. Then you sleep, you rest in the certainty that the seed will grow. And it does grow through a process that appears mysterious to the rational mind, but is perfectly natural to the acclimation imagination. The intervention of faith. Faith is essential to the successful application of the law of assumption. But faith is not something you acquire. It is something you acquire. Faith is simply the consciousness of already being or having what you desire. It is assumption sustained. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Your faith, your sustained assumption, is the actual substance of that which you desire. It is the evidence perceivable by your spiritual senses, though not yet by your physical senses, that your desire is already fulfilled. Many fail in the application of the law because they constantly check for external evidence. They plant the seed of assumption one moment, then dig it up the next to see if it has grown. This vacillation prevents the seed from taking root. Have faith in the unseen reality of your assumption. Know that the invisible always precedes the visible, that the ideal always precedes the actual, that the spiritual always precedes the material. Trust the process implicitly, and in divine timing, at an hour you think not, your assumption will harden into fact. The art of detachment. While persistence in your assumption is necessary, attachment to specific outcomes can hinder manifestation. This seems paradoxical, but it is a profound truth. You must assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, but then detach from how it will manifest. Detachment does not mean indifference. It means trusting in the perfect outworking of the law. It means surrendering the how to the infinite intelligence that orchestrates the universe. Your responsibility is the what, the assumption. The how belongs to God. My ways are not your ways, neither are my thoughts your thoughts. The bridge of incidents that leads from your present state to your desired state may not follow the path you would consciously choose, but it will be the perfect path specifically designed for you by the wisdom of your own deeper self. Practice detachment by focusing solely on the feeling of the wish fulfilled, not on the process by which it will come about. Trust that once you have assumed the consciousness of already being, or having what you desire, the way will open before you. The cosmic response to an assumption. What happens when you successfully assume a new state of consciousness? The entire universe rearranges itself to accommodate your new concept of self. This is not hyperbole. It is the literal truth. All things work together for good to them that love God. When you love God, when you align yourself with the creative principle through assumption, all things in your universe conspire to externalize that assumption. People, circumstances, events, the entire fabric of your reality shifts to reflect your new state. This occurs because in truth, there is no out there separate from your consciousness. The world you perceive is your consciousness projected. Change your consciousness, and you change your world, not metaphorically, but actually. Many have experienced this phenomenon. They assumed a new state, perhaps of wealth, health, or love, and suddenly people began treating them differently. Opportunities appeared that had not been there before. Circumstances arranged themselves in ways that facilitated the manifestation of their desire. This is the cosmic response to Pianshan, the living proof in experience. I do not ask you to believe what I tell you tonight simply because I say it is so. I ask you to test it in the laboratory of your own life. For truth is not truth until it is proven in experience. Take a situation in your life that you wish to change. Perhaps it is financial lack, physical illness, or a troubled relationship. Now, clearly define what you would experience if this condition were transformed according to your desire. How would you feel? What would you see? What would you hear? What would you touch and taste? Having clearly defined this state, enter into it fully in your imagination. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. See from this state, not looking at it as something distant or separate from you. Experience it as a present reality. Then go about your daily life, but maintain this assumption. Think and act from this new state. When doubts arise, as they inevitably will, gently return to your assumption. Persist until it feels natural, until it feels more real to you than the evidence of your senses. Then observe what happens in your world. Notice how people respond to you differently. Notice how circumstances begin to change. Notice how coincidences occur that move you toward the fulfillment of your desire. This will be your living proof of the power of assumption. The divine nature of man. Why does the law of assumption work? Because man in his true essence is divine. Know ye not that ye are gods? This statement from Scripture is not blasphemy. It is the revelation of man's true identity. Your consciousness is God in action. Your I am is the same I am that spoke to Moses from the burning bush. I am that I am. This is the foundation of all creation, the eternal, unchanging reality behind all manifestation. When you say I am, you are invoking the creative power of the universe. And whatever you attach to that divine name becomes your experience. I am is the door through which your assumptions pass into expression. This is why assumption is so powerful. When you assume I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am loved, you are not merely engaging in positive thinking. You are actually appropriating the creative power that shapes worlds. You are exercising your divine prerogative as a son or daughter of God. The one consciousness. There is only one consciousness in the universe. This consciousness individualizes itself as the human imagination, but its essence remains undivided. I and my Father are one. Your consciousness and God's consciousness are one consciousness. This truth has profound implications for the law of assumption. It means that when you assume a state, you are not somehow manipulating external forces. You are aligning yourself with the one power that creates and sustains all things. Moreover, it means that what you assume for yourself affects the whole. No man is an island. Your consciousness is connected to all consciousness. When you elevate your own consciousness through assumption, you contribute to the elevation of all consciousness. This is why the practice of assumption is not selfish or self-centered, even when focused on personal desires. For as you transform yourself through assumption, you transform your world, and your world is part of the world of all beings. The end of manifestation. What is the ultimate purpose of the law of assumption? Is it merely to acquire material possessions, physical health, or harmonious relationships? These are worthy desires, and the law will bring them to you if you apply it correctly. But there is a higher purpose. The ultimate end of the law of assumption is the full realization of your divine nature. It is the complete awakening to who and what you really are. It is the resurrection from the grave of material consciousness into the light of spiritual consciousness. As you practice the law, you will discover that your desires change. That which once seemed so important may lose its appeal. You will find yourself naturally assuming states of higher consciousness, states of love, compassion, wisdom, and service. This transformation occurs because as you prove the law in experience, you come to know yourself as the operant power in your universe. And with this knowledge comes the responsibility to use your created consciousness for the highest good of all. The promise fulfilled. Scripture tells us, behold, I make all things new. This is the promise of the law of assumption. Through the conscious direction of your imagination, you can make all things new in your life. The past does not determine the future, except to the extent that you continue to assume the same states that created your past. Change your assumption and you change your future. It is as simple and as profound as that. Let the weak say, I am strong. This is not positive thinking. It is the revelation of a principle. When the weak man says, I am strong, and persists in that assumption until it feels natural, he will become strong. The assumption predates and determines the fact. Your life is the harvesting of assumptions previously planted. If you do not like what you are harvesting, plant new assumptions. Act as if you are already what you want to be, already have what you want to have. Feel the naturalness of it, the reality of it. And in the appointed hour, your assumption will blossom into fact. The pattern on the mount. In Scripture, we find the instruction, see that thou make all things according to the pattern showed to thee in the mount. The mount is the highest point of consciousness, the state of full awareness of your creative power. From this elevation, you are shown the pattern, the ideal state that you desire to manifest. This pattern is not something external to you, it is within your own consciousness. It is your conception of yourself as you would like to be. Make all things according to this pattern. Conform your thinking, your feeling, your actions to it. Let your entire being resonate with it. This is the essence of acting as if, seeing from the mountaintop and bringing that vision into expression in the valley of manifestation. Those who have climbed this mount and seen the pattern have returned to transform the world. They are the artists, the inventors, the discoverers, the reformers, the visionaries who first imagined what could be, then acted as if it already were, until their assumption hardened into fact. You are called to join their ranks. You are called to ascend the mount of revelation, to see the pattern of your ideal life, and to make all things according to that pattern through the power of assumption. The silent prayer. As we draw to the close of our discussion tonight, I would like to share with you what I call the silent prayer. This is not an appeal to an external deity, but a recognition of your true identity and creative power. I am that I am. I am the Lord, and there is no other. I am the resurrection and the life. I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the vine, and you are the branches. Repeat these statements slowly, feeling their truth, allowing them to sink deep into your consciousness. For these are not merely affirmations, they are the revelation of who you really are. When you say, I am that I am, you are acknowledging your oneness with the creative principle of the universe. You are accepting your divine heritage as a creator, as one who shapes reality through consciousness. This silent prayer, repeated with understanding and feeling, will gradually transform your entire being. It will awaken you to your true nature and purpose. It will reveal to you the limitless power that has been yours from the beginning. The final word. My beloved friends, the hour grows late, but the truth I have shared with you tonight is timeless. It has always been so, though hidden from those without eyes to see or ears to hear. You have been given the master key to life's mysteries, the law of assumption. With it, you can unlock any door, overcome any obstacle, fulfill any desire that springs from the depths of your being. Remember, assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. This is the creative law of the universe, the process by which all that exists came into being. Go forth from this place transformed by what you've heard. Apply the law consciously and consistently in your life. Act as if you are already the person you wish to be. assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Live from the end, not toward it. And as you do, you will discover the truth of the words. All things whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing ye shall receive. For prayer is assumption, belief is the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and receipt is the inevitable manifestation of that which you have assumed. The choice is yours, the power is yours, the kingdom is yours. For the kingdom of heaven is within you. It is your own wonderful human imagination, awaking your conscious direction. I leave you with this final thought. Man's chief delusion is his conviction that there are causes other than his own state of consciousness. Free yourself from this delusion, and you free yourself from all limitation. Act as if you already are what you wish to be, and that you shall be. This is the promise. This is the law. This is the truth that will set you free. The world is a mirror, forever reflecting what you are doing within yourself. As you assume, so shall your life become. This is the mystery and the wonder of existence. This is the art and science of conscious creation. This is the revelation of the ages, now delivered into your hands. Use it wisely. Use it lovingly. Use it now. And watch as the invisible becomes visible, as the ideal becomes actual, as the spiritual becomes material, as your assumption hardens into fact. For this is the divine art of manifestation, the sacred science of creation, the eternal process by which thought becomes thing and dreams become reality. And now, my friends, I release you to your divine destiny to act as if, to assume the best, to manifest your highest vision through the transformative power of assumption. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Go forth and be what you wish to be. Go forth and have what you wish to have. Go forth and experience what you wish to experience. For you are the resurrection and the life. You are the way, the truth, and the life. You are that which you are seeking. And in the conscious recognition of this eternal truth lies your freedom, your power, and your peace.
You're living alive. Yes, you heard that right. The person you are right now, the one sitting here listening to these words, is not your true self. It's a facade. It's a facade. A mask you've crafted over years of compromise, fear and self-doubt. But what have I told you? That beneath this mask lies a version of you so powerful, so radiant, that it could transform your entire existence. Close your eyes for a moment. Envision the absolute best version of yourself. See it clearly in your mind's eye. How does this version of you walk? How does it speak? How does it interact with the world? Here's the shocking truth. That version of you is not some far-off dream or unattainable ideal. It's the real you waiting to be unleashed. Every day, you wake up and unconsciously choose to be less than you truly are. You settle for mediocrity, convincing yourself that greatness is for others, not for you. But why? Who decided that you couldn't be extraordinary? Who planted the seed of doubt that has grown into a forest of limitations? The world you see around you, the circumstances of your life, are nothing but a reflection of your inner state. Your current reality is the sum total of your past thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions about yourself and the world. If you're not satisfied with what you see, there's only one solution. Change the inner world, and the outer must follow. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to effortlessly attract success, love, and abundance into their lives? It's as if the universe conspires in their favor. What's their secret? They've realized a fundamental truth about reality. Your outer world is a mirror of your inner world. These individuals don't behave as trying to become successful or loved or abundant. They behave as if they already are. And in doing so, they align themselves with that reality, making it manifest in their physical experience. Now, you might be thinking that's easier said than done. I can't just pretend to be something I'm not. But that's where you're wrong. You're not pretending. You're reconnecting with your true, limitless self. Think about a time when you felt truly alive, when you were operating at your highest level. Perhaps it was a moment of great achievement, or a time when you felt completely in flow. That wasn't an anomaly. That was you free from the shackles of self-doubt and limitation. That was you behaving as your best self. What if you could live from that state constantly? What if, instead of it being a rare occurrence, it became your default mode of being? How would your life transform? How would your relationships change? How would your career evolve? The power to make this shift lies entirely within you. It's not about changing who you are. It is about becoming who you truly are. It's about shedding the layers of conditioning and false beliefs that have accumulated over years, obscuring your true radiant self. That yes, the transformation doesn't happen by wishing or hoping. It happens through a fundamental shift in how you perceive yourself and the world around you. It requires you to challenge every assumption you've ever made about who you are and what you're capable of. Are you ready for that challenge? Are you prepared to question everything you thought you knew about yourself? Are you willing to let go of the comfortable familiarity of your current self-concept and step into the unknown territory of your highest potential? If the answer is yes, then you're about to embark on the most thrilling adventure of your life, an adventure that will lead you to the very core of your being, where you'll discover reservoirs of power, creativity, and love that you never knew existed. This journey begins with a simple yet profound understanding. Your imagination is the gateway to your transformation. Every great achievement, every monumental change in human history began as a thought, an idea, a vision in someone's mind. Your life is no different. The person you'll become tomorrow is born in your imagination today. So I ask you, who do you want to be? Not who do you think you should be or who others expect you to be, but who, in your heart of hearts, do you truly desire to become? See that person clearly. Feel what it's like to be them. Experience the world through their eyes. This is not mere daydreaming or wishful thinking. This is the first step in the profound process of transformation. By holding this image of your ideal self in your mind, by feeling the reality of it, you're setting in motion forces that will reshape your entire existence. But remember, this is not about escaping your current reality or denying who you are now. It's about recognizing that who you are now is just a small fraction of who you can be. It's about expanding your sense of self to encompass all your potential, all your dreams, all your deepest desires. As we continue this exploration, we'll delve deeper into the mechanics of this transformation. We'll uncover the principles that govern the relationship between your inner world and your outer reality. We'll learn how to harness the incredible power of your imagination to reshape you. But for now, I want you to hold on to that vision of your best self. Feel it. Breathe it in. Let it permeate every cell of your being. Because from this moment forward, that is who you are. Not someday in the future. Not when you've achieved certain goals or met certain conditions. But right now, in this very instant, you are that best version of yourself. Now it's time to align your thoughts, your words, and your actions with that truth. It's time to behave as if you are the best version of yourself. Your imagination is the most powerful tool you possess. It's the key to unlocking your true potential, the bridge between your current reality and the life you desire. But here's the catch. Most people use their imagination against themselves. They imagine worst-case scenarios, replay past failures, and visualize future disappointments. They're using this incredible power to reinforce their limitations rather than transcend them. What if, instead, you use your imagination to construct a new self-concept? What if you directed this power towards envisioning and embodying your highest self? Every thought you think, every belief you hold, every assumption you make about yourself, and the world around you is shaping your reality in this very moment. Your self-concept, the mental image you hold of who you are, is the foundation upon which your entire life is built. If you see yourself as limited, unworthy, or incapable, that's exactly what you'll experience in your outer world. But if you see yourself as limitless, deserving, and powerful, your reality will shift to reflect that inner vision. This isn't wishful thinking or pop psychology. It's a fundamental law of consciousness. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner state. Change the inner and the outer must follow. But how do we make this shift? How do we change our self-concept at such a deep level that it transforms our entire reality? The answer lies in the proper use of your imagination. Your imagination is not just a place to escape reality. It's a tool to create reality. When you imagine yourself as your ideal self, when you feel the reality of being that person, you're not engaging in mere fantasy. You're programming your subconscious mind with a new self-image. Your subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's vividly imagined. It accepts whatever you feed it as truth and then works tirelessly to bring that truth into your physical experience. Think about that for a moment. Every time you vividly imagine yourself as your best self, every time you feel the reality of being that person, you're literally rewiring your brain. You're creating new neural pathways that support this new self-image. But it's not enough to do this once or twice. This needs to become your new way of being. You need to live from this new self-concept consistently, persistently, until it becomes your default state. This is where many people falter. They catch a glimpse of their potential. They feel the excitement of what could be. But then they snap back to their old patterns of thinking and being. They allow their current circumstances, their past experiences, or the opinions of others to override their vision of their ideal self. Don't fall into this trap. Your circumstances are not your reality. They are the aftermath of your previous thinking. Your past does not define you. It simply reveals where your thoughts have been. And the opinions of others are just opinions. They have no power over you unless you give them power. Your power lies in your ability to choose your thoughts, to select the self-concept you wish to embody. This choice is available to you in every moment. No matter what's happening around you, no matter what challenges you face, you always have the power to choose how you see yourself. So how do you make this choice? How do you shift your self-concept in a way that's powerful and lasting? It begins with clarity. You must have a clear, vivid picture of who you want to be. Not just in terms of what you want to have or achieve, but in terms of the kind of person you want to be. How does this ideal version of you think? How do they feel? How do they carry themselves? How do they interact with others? Once you have this clear vision, you must make it real in your imagination. Close your eyes and step into this version yourself. Feel what it's like to be this person. Experience the world through their eyes. Let every detail be vivid and alive in your mind. As you do this, pay attention to your emotions. Emotion is the fuel that powers your imagination. The more you can feel the reality of being your ideal self, the more quickly you align with that reality in your outer world. But remember, this isn't about escaping your current reality. It's about transforming it from within. As you imagine your ideal self, bring that energy, that way of being into your daily life. Begin to walk, talk, and act as if you are already that person. This might feel uncomfortable at first. You might feel like an imposter. That's okay. It's a natural part of the process. You're stretching beyond your current self-concept, and growth always involves some discomfort. Twist through this discomfort. Keep holding the vision of your ideal self. Keep feeling the reality of it. Keep acting from that state of being. As you do, you'll find that it becomes more and more natural. What once felt like pretending will start to feel authentic. This is the power of your imagination at work. By consistently imagining and embodying your ideal self, you're literally reshaping your self-concept. You're changing the blueprint from which your life is built. But here's where many people misunderstand this process. They think it's about forcing change, about struggling and striving to become something they're not. Nothing could be further from the truth. This process is not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more fully yourself. It's about shedding the limitations and false beliefs that have held you back and embracing the fullness of who you truly are. Your ideal self is not some external standard you're trying to live up to. It's the truest expression of your own being. It's who you are when you're free from fear, doubt, and limitation. It's who you are when you're fully aligned with your deepest values and desires. As you continue to imagine and embody this ideal self, you'll find that your outer world begins to shift. Opportunities that align with your new self-concept will start to appear. People will begin to treat you differently, responding to the new energy you're projecting. You might be tempted to dismiss these changes as coincidence. Don't. They are the natural result of your shifted self-concept. Remember, your outer world is a reflection of your inner state. As you change your inner world, your outer world must change to match it. This is where faith comes in. Not blind faith in some external power, but faith in the power of your own conscience. Faith that as you continue to hold this new self-concept, as you continue to live from this state of being, your outer world will inevitably align with it. This fate is crucial because the changes in your outer world may not happen overnight. There may be a lag between your inner shift and its outer manifestation. During this time, it's essential to stay true to your new self-concept, to continue behaving as if you're already your ideal self. This is where many people give up. They make an inner change, but when they don't see immediate results in their outer world, they revert to their old patterns of thinking and being. Don't make this mistake. Trust the process. Know that as you persist in your new state of being, your outer world must conform to it. Remember, you're not trying to force the outer world to change. You're allowing it to change by changing yourself from within. This is the true secret of personal transformation. It's not about manipulating external circumstances. It's about aligning your inner state with your desire. As you continue this practice, you'll find that it becomes easier and more natural. What once required conscious effort will become automatic. You'll find yourself naturally thinking, feeling, and acting as your ideal self without having to remind yourself to do so. This is when true transformation occurs, when your new self-concept becomes so ingrained that it's simply who you are, not who you're trying to be. When behaving as your best self is no longer a conscious choice, but your default state of being. But even as you reach this state, don't become complacent. Your ideal self is not a fixed destination. It's an ever-evolving vision. As you grow and evolve, so too will your concept of your best self. Embrace this ongoing evolution. Continue to expand your vision of what's possible for you. Use your imagination to push the boundaries of your self-concept. Dare to dream bigger. Dare to be more. Remember, the only limits that exist are the ones you accept in your own mind. As you expand your self-concept, you expand the possibilities for your life. This is the true power of imagination and self-concept. It's not just about improving your circumstances or achieving specific goals. It's about fundamentally transforming who you are and how you experience life. By harnessing this power, you're not just changing what you do, what you have. You're changing who you are at the deepest level. And when you change who you are, everything in your life changes with you. So I challenge you, regard or imagine the grandest version of yourself. Dare to hold that vision consistently, to feel this reality, to live from that state of being. As you do, watch in awe as your life transforms to match your new self-concept. Remember, you're not bound by your past, by your current circumstances, or by anyone else's expectations. You are bound only by the limits of your own imagination. And your imagination is limited. Use this power wisely. Use it to become the fullest, most magnificent expression of yourself. Use it to create a life that reflects your highest vision. Use it to behave as if you are the best version of yourself. Because in truth, that's exactly who you are. The concept of living from the end is perhaps the most powerful tool in your arsenal of transformation. It's the art of experiencing your desired reality, your imagination so vividly that you begin to live from that state in your present moment. This isn't about mere positive thinking or wishful daydreaming. It's about a fundamental shift in your consciousness that aligns you with the reality you wish to experience. When you live from the end, you're not hoping for a better future or working towards a goal. You're experiencing that future now, in the only moment that truly exists, the present. This might sound paradoxical, but it's the key to rapid and profound transformation. Everything you've ever experienced, every achievement you've ever accomplished, first existed in your imagination. Your current reality was once just a thought, a vision, a feeling. By living from the end, you're accelerating this process. You're bringing your desired future into your present experience through the power of your consciousness. But how exactly do you live from the end? How do you embody your ideal self in a way that's authentic and transformative? It begins with a simple yet profound shift in your perception. Instead of seeing your ideal self as something to be achieved in the future, you must see it as who you truly are right now. This isn't about denying your current circumstances. It's about recognizing that your true identity isn't defined by those circumstances, but by the innermost essence of who you are. Your ideal self is in some distant, perfected version of you. It's the truest expression of your being, free from the limitations and false beliefs that have accumulated over time. When you live from the end, you're not becoming someone new. You're remembering who you've always been beneath the layers of conditioning and self-doubt. To embody this ideal self, you must first clearly define it. What qualities does your ideal self embody? How does this version of you think, feel, and act? What beliefs does this version of you hold about yourself and the world? Be specific and vivid in your vision. Once you have this clear vision, the next step is to fully experience it in your imagination. Close your eyes and step into this version of yourself. Feel what it's like to be this person. Experience the world through their eyes. How do they walk? How do they speak? How do they interact with others? How do they handle challenges? As you do this, pay close attention to the feelings that arise. The feeling is the secret. It's not enough to just visualize your ideal self. You must feel the reality of being that person. Feel the confidence, the joy, the peace, the love that this version will experience. Let these feelings permeate every cell of your being. This isn't a one-time exercise. To truly live from the end, you must make this your new normal. Whenever you find yourself slipping back into old patterns of thought or behavior faults, take a deep breath. Reconnect with the feeling of being your ideal self. Then, from that state of being, continue with your day. At first, this might feel challenging. You might feel like you're pretending or being inauthentic. That's okay. It's a natural part of the process. Remember, you're stretching beyond your current self-concept. There will be some discomfort as you expand into this new way of being. Persist through this discomfort. Keep reminding yourself that this ideal self isn't some fake persona you're trying to adopt. It's the truest expression of who you are. As you continue to embody this state, you'll find that it becomes more and more natural. What once felt like pretending will start to feel authentic. But living from the end isn't just about how you feel internally. It's also about how you show up in the world. It's about aligning your thoughts, words, and actions with your ideal self. This is where many people fall. They can imagine their ideal self. They can even feel the reality of it internally. But they struggle to bring that energy into their daily lives. To truly embody your ideal self, you must act as if you are already that person. How would your ideal self handle the challenges you're currently facing? How would they interact with the people in your life? How would they approach their work, their relationships, their health? This doesn't mean ignoring your current circumstances or pretending that challenges don't exist. It means approaching those circumstances and challenges from the perspective of your ideal self. It means responding to life from a place of empowerment, confidence, and inner peace, rather than from fear, doubt, or limitation. As you begin to consistently feel and act as your ideal self, you'll notice something remarkable happening. The world around you will begin to respond differently. Opportunities that align with your new way of being will start to appear. People will begin to treat you differently, responding to the new energy you're projecting. This is where faith becomes crucial. Not blind faith in some external power, but faith in the creative power of your own consciousness. Faith that as you continue to live from the end, as you continue to embody your ideal self, your outer world will inevitably align with this inner reality. This faith is important because there may be a lag between your inner shift and its outer manifestation. During this time, it's essential to stay true to your new way of being. Don't let temporary circumstances or setbacks shake your conviction. Remember, your current reality is the result of your past thinking and being. As you persist in your new state, your reality must shift to reflect it. Living from the end also requires a fundamental shift in your relationship with time. Most people live in a state of constant anticipation, always looking forward to some future moment when their desires will be fulfilled. But when you live from the end, you bring that future into your present experience. You're not waiting for something to happen. You're experiencing it now in your consciousness. This shift in perception creates a profound sense of peace and fulfillment. You're no longer chasing after desires or striving to become something in the future. You're experiencing the essence of what you desire right now. This doesn't mean you become passive or stop taking action towards your goals. On the contrary, you'll find yourself inspired to take aligned action from the state of fulfillment. As you continue to live from the end and embody your ideal self, You'll likely encounter resistance, both from within yourself and from the world around you. Your old self-concept, reinforced by years of habit, won't give up without a fight. You may find yourself slipping back into old patterns of thinking and behaving. When this happens, don't judge yourself. Don't see it as failure. Simply recognize it as part of the process and gently bring yourself back to the state of your ideal self. Remember, you're reprogramming deeply ingrained patterns. It takes time and persistence. You may also encounter resistance from others. As you begin to embody your ideal self, some people in your life might react the way. They're used to the old you, and your transformation might make them uncomfortable. Don't let this deter you. Stay true to your new way of being. The right people, those who resonate with your true self, will be drawn to you. Living from the end and embodying your ideal self is not a destination. It's an ongoing journey of expansion and self-discovery. As you grow and evolve, your vision of your ideal self may change. Embrace this evolution. Continue to expand your concept of what's possible for you. Use your imagination to push the boundaries of your self-concept. Dare to dream bigger. Dare to be more. Remember, the only limits that exist are the ones you accept in your own mind. As you expand your vision of your ideal self, you expand the possibilities for your life. This practice of living from the end and embodying your ideal self is not just about personal achievement or success. It's about aligning with the deepest truth of who you are. It's about expressing the fullness of your being in every moment. As you do this, you not only transform your own life, but you also uplift those around you. You become a living example of what's possible, inspiring others to step into their own greatness. So I challenge you, dare to live from the end, dare to fully embody your ideal self. Not someday in the future, but right now, in this very moment. Feel the reality of being that person. Think as that person thinks. Speak as that person speaks. Act as that person acts. Do this consistently, persistently, with unwavering faith in the creative power of your consciousness. As you do, watch in awe as your life transforms to match this inner reality. Watch as you become the living embodiment of your highest vision. Remember, you are not bound by your past, by your current circumstances, or by anyone else's expectations. You are bound only by the limits of your own imagination. And your imagination is limitless. In every moment, you have the power to choose who you want to be. Choose to be the best version of yourself. Choose to live from the end. Choose to embody your ideal self. As you make this choice consistently, you will find that it's not just your life that transforms. You transform. You become the person you've always known. Deep down, that this is the true power of living from the end and embodying your ideal self. It's not just about achieving goals or improving your circumstances. It's about becoming the fullest, most magnificent expression of who you truly are. It's about aligning with the deepest truth of your being and letting that truth shine forth in every aspect of your life. So go forth with courage and conviction. Live from the end. Embody your ideal self. Be the person you know you can be. The world is waiting for you to shine in all your brilliance. It's time to step into the fullness of who you truly are. It's time to behave as if you are the best version of yourself. Because in truth, that's exactly who you are.